there is a name mentioned in it, but it's purely fictitious. Keep that in mind. The lone pine trees shuddered as the wind whipped past the forsaken old house near the sea. For centuries the old house had stood, cherishing many memories under its roof. Now time had worn away its shingles, and only the birds and bats inhabited its crevices, hidden crevices. But one long and never to be forgotten episode still clung in the heart of the old house. Only the house contained the answer to what happened on that autumn day years ago. The rumor about the house was that anyone who lived there could never leave it. Once a young husband and wife had lived there and brought love and happiness to the old house. Their children could be seen playing in the shady nooks of the old pines, and even the pines seemed to breathe happier because of the little children. But then one day, a fatal accident happened, and the mother and father were killed. The children were taken to an orphanage, and the old house was left all alone to mourn. Many people came to see the house with thoughts of buying it, but when they saw it, the house appeared so lonely and deserted that it appeared to be haunted, and they changed their minds. The years went by, and still the house remained deserted, until one lovely spring day, another family moved in. They were quite wealthy and middle-aged people. They wished to live where peace and quiet prevailed. These people, the Richardsons, had one son, John, whom they had adopted. He had been involved in one crime after another, and he was 16. The Richardsons were very heartbroken, but nevertheless they stood by him. Everyone else thought that they were foolish, and that one day John would reveal in some action that he was out to get the money of his wealthy stepfather. It was not long after moving into the house that Mrs. Richardson died during her sleep. Mr. Richardson was now a lonely and heartbroken man. Perhaps it was grief or the shock of losing a loved one, but Mr. Richardson was never the same again. John had not changed, but he had taken the habit of gambling, and he began to need more and more money. To get it, he sold all that he had and then turned to his father. But the father refused because he realized that it was time his son grew up and earned his way out of his own affairs. Just as things seemed better, the old man had a stroke and was in a very serious condition. The doctor did not know whether Mr. Richardson was going to live or not, but after a while he began to convalesce, or so it seemed. Everyone thought that now he would be fine, but 2 weeks later he died. The autopsy showed that he had taken an overdose of sleeping pills. The police could find no proof of murder, so they declared it a suicide case. As John was always under the suspicious eyes of his neighbors, he had to leave and take up residence in another city. Even though he tried to forget the past, John's mind always went back to his old home. Still, the question arose, what happened on that night? Did he take those pills, or were they over the loss of his wife, or were they given to him? Only the old house could answer that. And as the wind keeps murmuring through its walls, people wonder of the story it might have to tell. That's it.